Welcome to A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the podcast. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Eric.
Welcome back. It's been a bit.
It has.
Not really.
It feels like it's been a while.
It's weird. I've been up till 3 a.m. every day.
I think it's because of, we saw each other out in Tillsonburg because we had a wedding out that ways and we had the kidney walk.
The kidney walk.
Which is pretty good.
Which I haven't edited any of the footage from.
It's a lot of footage to go through. It's going to take a while. Although we had photos.
Yep. But she sent me the share file link for everything, so I'm just going to edit the video and send it to her.
I was sent on Greg's account an image from a newspaper.
Oh.
I know it mentions the kidney walk, but whose picture is it?
It's the Tillsonburg News.
Oh, the guy that showed up?
The guy that showed up. Yeah. One of my esteemed Facebook friends. He's been working for the news for a long time.
We should just get in contact with the newspaper and let them run our photos.
Most newspapers will.
Yeah.
Like, you can do user-submitted photos. I still stand by the fact that I'm pretty sure the Tillsonburg News did use one of Tila's photos the first year. But she stood way too close to the newspaper photographer, and I never got a physical copy of the newspaper. So only from visual image can I even guess. Like, I couldn't tell, but...
Yeah, you could probably tell if it's the same moment if you had both the files on hand.
But I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where they would have stolen it from, really, if they did.
It's a good charity.
Yeah.
And it was fun to do.
I enjoyed flying the drone this year.
Except for the craziness.
Yeah, it just comes with the territory, I guess, of having a drone, because there's so many weird issues that you can have where it's just, people complain about them like flying away and doing drastic stuff like that. We've never had it that bad.
And over by where you were, there are there could have been some sort of
interference
of some kind.
Because what happened was, and I
could
reviewed
insert footage of what happened.
I reviewed the footage, and you can see it now.
I too reviewed the footage.
Camera. Nothing. It wasn't near anything. It wasn't near any power lines exactly. Like the closest ones nearby were probably like 400 feet away. The camera just went nuts. It did basically what it looks to me like the gimbal's check. Like when you turn it on, the gimbal does this thing where it looks in several different directions. And back when I broke the drone by flying it into a house and smashed many of the delicate camera parts to pieces, it would do the same thing, except it would fail. So it would go nuts. It would just start swinging and trying to find whatever the hell sender it usually does to calibrate itself. It was doing that, but in midair. And the rest of the drone was fine, like, thank goodness, because it stayed in perfect position while the gimbal went nuts. And as suddenly as it started, it stopped. So, it's one of those things you have to deal with, I guess.
It's true. I realized watching last week's raw footage that hasn't been edited that there is something cool about having a TV behind, because when we're talking about things, we can actually turn to look.
Yes, it's
but we
true.
don't have a third operator to operate our TV goodness.
We need somebody to do it for it to be seamless. That's for sure.
But, no, that's just my random tangent. Kidney walk, good fun. They're going to use our video and photos to launch 2019's, to announce the dates and the walks. So one of the cool things about doing work with them is our footage has been on TV. Our photos have been on TV.
Nice.
It's just public access television, so it's not the highest of credibility, but still a cool situation.
Yeah.
They do appreciate it. It's too bad we can't do more work for them, but
that's far away. But yeah,
maybe next year the celebrity fashion show will happen again. That's fun.
And maybe Ryan Gosling will be
Ryan Gosling.
He won't. Ryan Gosling, please go to that damn show.
That'd be amazing.
I want to take pictures of him.
I'd have to upgrade my camera. I said I would.
I already did, so I'm not going to upgrade my camera, but because it would be very expensive if I did. I'd have to go for medium format or something. Or that ridiculously priced new Panasonic system that looks amazing, but damn, that sticker price is too much.
Is it though? Or are they just saying we are going to do the best? People are tired of Canon and Nikon. and we're going to charge a little bit more, but we think that our product that you can't get through Canon and you can't get through Nikon is worth it.
Oh, you know what? looking at the performance of this camera and what it promises to do, and the things that it does that other cameras don't, for instance, like 60 frames per second, 4K, and such.
And it's uncropped, right?
Uncropped, of course. Looking at it, yeah, okay. It's competing with the top of the line sort of camcorders you might get from Sony and other high-end video equipment. So it justifies the $6,000 price tag. The lenses are going to be just as ridiculously priced, I would say. So it's not even hit like I've never bought a Sony camera. Even I mean I wouldn't buy a Sony camera, but if let's just say somebody handed me here's a Sony A7S Mark II or whatever, it doesn't seem unattainably expensive, but it's expensive. Those cameras, you know, with the lenses you're going to use for filmmaking or whatever, going to be well over $3,000. But I would still think, yeah, if I'm making, you know, documentary or whatever, let's go for that. That makes sense. This Panasonic is up there. Like, I'm thinking you're going to spend over $10,000 by the time you have any decent glass for the thing to film stuff. If you want native glass, which you can adapt stuff anyways, because mirrorless is great for that. But it's expensive. If we were shooting a movie and we had a budget,
we could just rent.
We could.
That would be a great way to actually
depends how long you're shooting for, I guess. Yeah.
To
try things out.
To try things out. We did that a lot back in school, even though they had great base equipment, the red cams and whatnot, the lenses. We still rented extra lights and extra lenses and all the necessary. They had a good selection, but when you wanted your, you know, 200 prime lens for the red cam,
yeah,
it's pricey.
It makes sense to do it in that situation.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't make sense for things we do repetitively. I would never rent gear for weddings just because I'm going to be doing weddings. Just buy the damn thing, have it, be comfortable with it. It's fine. For a movie, I could see it being useful because it's a one-time thing with a set start and finish filming date. And after
with
you're done,
a little bit of wiggle room.
Sure. And after you're done that, you don't need it. Get rid of it. It would be in your closet depreciating anyways. You don't need it. So not a big deal. Not a waste of money to use it. It's just a business tool at that point.
So hypothetically, making a film. Mm-hmm. If you, without any developments hindering this conversation, if you could pick any genre of film that you wanted to work on attainably, what would it be?
What do you mean attainably?
Well, if you pick sci-fi, chances are it's going to suck because we don't. There's no budget. Like if tomorrow we made a movie, what would your genre of choice be?
Comedy is too easy. I like watching comedies, but they're very simple. They're really hard to. But and
comedies are hard to direct. Take it from somebody who's directed many failed comedies.
Yeah. I wouldn't do comedy. I can tell you that much. Thrillers are they're a dime a dozen kind of thing on Netflix, but the ones that are really good sort of stick out in your mind at the same time. It's almost a genre in and of its own, like the pop sensation of something. Like, I don't know. You could think of movies that are so iconic, like Sixth Sense or something that just stick out. And it's just this kind of... It's kind of that movie where you just get like a twist ending, I guess.
The Shyamalan twist.
Yeah. It's almost a genre in and of itself. Being able to write something that is that emotionally compelling, I don't know. I can't really pick a genre exactly, but something like that. It would be a movie that takes itself seriously. I could say that much. Wouldn't be a horror. It wouldn't be a romantic, interest type movie, I don't think. It would be serious, gritty.
Gritty?
Yeah.
Like maybe not like gritty, maybe not necessarily a murder mystery, but you could have somebody dead. Gritty. Death is gritty.
Maybe. I think I'd want to take the perceived criminal's perspective on that one if it was something like that. Like maybe you could follow somebody that's like an ex-biker or whatever and has like a lot of gang affiliations, and then they're, it shows like the truth of the streets or whatever, like just aspects of drug addiction or drug peddling or human trafficking or whatever, something in a gritty way. I'm thinking now a movie that kind of shows aspects of like that underworld is Taken. It's an interesting movie, and that's an action movie. I don't think it would necessarily have to be an action movie.
Action is fun to do. Action you can do on a low budget.
You can, yeah. There's a lot of stunts, which is fun. I would also stray away from things that require lots of digital effects. I like practical effects, and I like not necessarily needing them because you have a compelling enough story that you're not just fucking whip panning a camera every 2 seconds and confusing the audience.
Oh, I agree. Well, unfortunately, we have a horror movie in our future. Maybe
That's fine. Just gotta start somewhere.
But that's just a fun little intro to everything. My filmmaking. I can't say my filmmaking skills are rusty, but my filmmaking. I haven't made one in a while. I haven't done that. Wedding films, sure. But
Yeah, it's not really something that's publicly the thing you watch. Although, I mean, there's a social media component to it for a lot of videographers that put out these really, really, I don't know, like highlighted snippets of the day and weave them together in something that everybody watches and like.
and then
that's
Facebook
amazing.
flags them,
If you use copyrighted music, yes.
which everybody does. I was talking about that with G. G and I had talked about how it might actually be in our interest to go to brides and grooms and say, hey, we have a musician that'll record you a acoustic song for your wedding video.
Yeah.
No flag.
Need talented musicians, which we have one. She's a very talented musician. I don't know if any of the other members of Roadways are on board with such a thing. I mean, you need a drummer.
He gave me his hourly or their hourly wage, and if a bride and groom really wanted it, or they wanted something done specifically for them, it's more than attainable.
Well, that's good.
So that's on the table. Movies. Oh, movies. The thing that, like, making, whether it's I've worked on, first thing I ever did in film school was a ripoff of the first, like, the original style movies, because we were shooting on black and white, no sound. It was very old school. And we shot a movie about a guy eating a banana. Just finished the banana, throws the banana, and somebody slips on the banana.
Classic.
Yes. It was not award winning.
No.
And I might have it somewhere. It's cool that it was shot on film. It feels very different. That one didn't have dialogue. But the first time you see dialogue that you have written or you've had a part with on the screen, that's addicting. And it's a horrible addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could spend years trying to get that high again.
Yeah, it's a lot of time before you see it pay off, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of, for some reason, as soon as you mentioned black and white, the old Alfred Hitchcock movies jumped out at me. And I thought of the effects and the practical effects and stuff used in the movie Psycho, because I think we've talked about it on the podcast. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, for sure. Something like that, it's different than any horror you would see today. It's so radically different.
It's slow.
Yeah.
Which is important.
I don't know how audiences would react to a modern day emulation of that kind of style.
Well, first off, you know exactly how they would react to a beat for beat remake of Psycho, because with 1998 Psycho,
yeah,
with Vince Vaughn masturbating,
I didn't watch it.
It wasn't good.
I wouldn't watch it.
We had to watch it in school,
yeah, as
a study versus, they say that imitation is the sincere form of flattery, but even though most of it was shot for shot, there was some magic. A lot of people say it's in the black and white.
Yeah,
the look of it. The 1998
fantastic.
One was filmed in color.
Yes.
A lot of people say it was the black and white that was the magic, but there's just something different. It's not necessarily the acting. Vince Vaughn wasn't bad in it.
The acting wasn't even like... It was really believable, but it wasn't like overacting like you might get in, I don't know, a remake probably that's trying to be something. In the original, it wasn't trying to be anything. These were just actors, and they were
didn't know what they had.
No, they didn't know what it was going to be. They didn't know what the edited film was going to look like. They didn't know what scenes were included, anything.
That might have also been another thing. You mentioning that, them copying. There's no
colors
originality.
it colors the final result.
Yeah. When Psycho was released, the amazing thing at the time, and they don't do this for most movies, any movie nowadays, is you couldn't get into the theater even if you were 5 minutes late. The doors were shut.
Yes,
because they didn't want to risk what was it? They didn't want to risk the twist. I don't know why. Now I'm blanking on the reason why. But you needed the full setup, the full everything. And obviously midway through the movie, the main character, spoiler alert, even though it's a little old, main character dies.
Yes. and later, the killer is his own mother.
Yes.
So, good twist.
Every other movie after Psycho isn't worth it. Psycho 2, 3, 4.
That's why I don't even put any interest into it.
But apparently Bates Motel is okay.
That's a TV show, isn't it? Yeah. I've seen a bit of that. It's strange.
Well, it is strange. It's one of those things that doesn't really make sense because they're like, oh, let's do a TV show about Norman Bates as a kid. Riveting. And we're going to loosely set it in the Psycho universe.
Yes.
Now I'm not sold. You can't loosely.
Yes.
Like, I want either a true prequel or don't say it's loosely set. Make it your own thing.
It's along the lines of most TV shows that they just stretch a concept and throw in things to try to keep the audience interested, but it's just a half-assed attempt most of the time. It's not real storytelling, from what I've seen of it. I've watched a couple episodes.
There's a TV show that just premiered, and apparently it did very, very well. And I'm intrigued, and I think traditional TV might have to do this where their ideas are so out there because they're competing with Netflix so much that the trailer for this network show was very well done, and the concepts are very interesting. It's all about this airplane that is leaving Jamaica, and they arrive in New York, and everybody's like, what are you doing here? And the pilot, everybody in the plane is like, we came from Jamaica. And then the police are called and whatnot. They finally find out that they'd been missing for 5 years.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. And that trailer, I'm like, what? I don't get it. And then the extended trailer shows how much your life can change when your life around you progresses 5 years, and then you come back and it's been 2 hours. People have moved on. People have remarried. Mm-hmm. There's cures for diseases that...
In 5 years, I don't know if there's going to be many new cures, but it's kind of... It's similar. I mean, there wasn't a sci-fi element to it in a lot of shows, but you could see the same thing happening. And I can think of Castaway as a good example, where he comes back after that and after getting off the island. And there's many examples of that. And I think that's a realistic expectation. I mean, you could see it in real life when people went away to war and they were expected dead, or maybe they were captured by the enemy as a prisoner of war or something, and they come back. And, 5 years literally has progressed or more. So it's an interesting concept, but I'm guessing this is a sci-fi, is it not?
I don't know, because the trailer has kind of pegged it as a mystery. They don't know why. And I kind of accidentally stumbled upon a review today on Facebook, and even after the first episode, there's no real answer. But the trailer has made it seem that whatever has happened has affected them both positively and negatively, because there's going to be things that happen, that's horrible after being missing for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, there's this female character in the TV show. She finds out that her father died.
Yep.
In the 5 years' time. That would be horrible, especially since it's only been 2 hours for you. Your life would be...
Never braced for that, no.
No. So just stuff like that. But I have a funny feeling, based on this review that I read, is it might get a little preachy. It might fall somewhere in between sci-fi and a slight religious overtone, which is odd.
Religious overtone? How so? Like
I
a rapture movie of some kind?
I don't know. What else? Venom came out
Yep.
or is coming out. I think it's already out. Might be open tomorrow. But the Spider-Man villain movie that legally cannot have Spider-Man in it.
Not of any interest to me, and I won't watch it.
No, me either. New Halloween movie with Michael Myers. I like the original Halloween stuff. I like Jamie Lee Curtis. That's coming out. Looks kind of badass. I like a good horror movie.
I'll look into it.
You should. Because Justin doesn't like horror movies, and neither does Melissa.
This has got to become a movie review podcast where we're by ourselves or something. We should do it.
We could.
Yeah.
Speaking of movie review podcast, next month Kevin's coming.
Oh, yes. So we do have a guest in the future.
Yes, we do. We should inquire about others, but he'll be an interesting one.
What
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a 6-hour ride.
What were we talking about before the podcast? And then you said to me that we should save it for the podcast. Something of relative interest.
Well, just interesting things. We're talking about interviewing different types of people who, real life people who have been through tragedies.
Oh, yes.
And then we were talking about being reporters.
Okay, so those are two things. Well, no, I'll save the tragedies one because that could be something we do not tell. And
Show don't tell.
as far as being reporters,
I feel
start off with what you said to me at the beginning about that, I guess,
oh
as to why what we could look into.
well, say for example, using my personal thing and then the Johnny Tischler thing. When we first met, you and I did some night photography.
Yes,
And then
downtown St. Catharines.
Yes. Then one day I was driving home and there was a car accident not too far up the street. Like, well, it's a beautiful summer day. I'm going to go take photos of death. So I take my camera and I go, and I'm not on the scene. I'm appropriately away. And a police officer comes up to me. He's like, "What publication are you with?" I'm like, "I have a photography website. I'm just practicing some nighttime photos." He's like, "Oh, okay. It's fine." It's like, "I was just curious in case you needed a quote." I'm like, maybe I should have got a quote. So there was that, but I was talking to somebody who watched the Johnny Tischler one, the podcast. Actually, G mentioned it. And he said that is the pinnacle of what we are, because we are normal people. We're intrigued by people, and we bring somebody of interest, of major interest, and just give them a platform to talk.
G watch that one?
I don't know if he did or he was just talking.
Okay, might have just been
I can't. He knew about it.
Well, I mean, he lives close, but not.
Thousands of people know about it. That's cool.
It's fair. It's fair.
It did better than others.
Along those lines, though, we could be photojournalists.
We could be.
Because newspapers will let you submit stuff to their websites, I'm sure.
My uncle does it all the time. He'll take pictures and send them to the Toronto Star.
I don't know how rewarding it is
It's not.
unless you can be an actual on-staff
You
photographer.
don't make any money.
Yeah, so you want to be on staff or something.
Yes.
But at the same time, you could start your own local news site if you were active
Alex.
enough to do it, but I don't think you do it as a part-time thing.
Go right ahead, Alex. Be my guest.
Alex.
Yeah. Jones. Just start your own news site.
Oh.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs
We
gay.
call it.
Turning the frog. Oh, parody? I don't know. Turning the frogs gay.
Gayfrogs.com.
I bet you that exists.
Oh, I'm sure it does. It's probably an Alex Jones fan site of some sort.
Probably. Or something incredibly scarring. Gay.
Gay animated frogs.
.com.
This is a mistake. I don't know why you're doing this.
Doesn't exist. Oh, I spelled it wrong.
What,
Gay grogs.
Great gay grog. That sounds like some kind of mythical creature.
Oh,
What is it?
it's for sale.
Oh, probably for an absurd amount of money.
Guess how much gayfrogs.com is worth.
$7,000.
You could buy gayfrogs.com 2.5 times with 7,000.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still insanely unreasonable.
Yes, a little bit.
Okay.
Probably because at one point it might have been purchased.
Well, yeah, and somebody had the foresight of jacking up the price on it.
Curiously enough, gaypanda.com is worth 20 grand.
It's because pandas aren't sexual in any manner, let alone gay sexual.
Do we know any pagans?
I do not know any pagans.
Well, if you do www.gaypagan.com, that's also worth $20,000.
It's probably against the religion, and it would be a very countercultural porn site.
Okay, I'm not for this because I don't have any, but you would think a website called www.gaytips.com would be taken,
You think it would,
but it's
gotta be
not,
tips about being gay.
for the affordable amount of $2,100.
I don't. There must be some people out there that are just miserable because they're sitting on a bunch of parked addresses and nobody's buying them because they're ridiculously priced. If somebody really wanted gay tips for $2,100, I'm sure you could justify it. I'm sure somebody could make money off of giving out advice like that. It must be doable. People that are talented on camera or on blogs or whatever. But nobody's buying it. One day there's just going to be like more than 70% of the internet's web pages that, you know, would be good and useful for stuff are just sitting there waiting to be bought and nobody's buying.
I was talking to somebody at Beast today. She gave me her email address. She's like, I get made fun of all the time because it's an old email address. And I looked at it. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't have numbers in it. That's impressive.
It's just her name.
It's just her name. It's first name, period, last name at whatever.com.
Tila's incredibly lucky because nobody has her name. Like, almost pretty much nobody has her first name, let alone in combination with their last name. I'm screwed. Eric Gervais, there's so many Eric Gervais.
I get lucky. Dolster J, stuff like that. Plus, I've always liked the idea of owning my own domain. So I think even if 10 years from now DH Media doesn't exist, I'll still be paying for a custom domain for myself.
Ooh. Why not?
Keeps things different. It's affordable.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. How excited Thanksgiving this weekend?
It's gonna be pretty good. I'm gonna build a roof on a cottage.
But you can take photos of the roof beforehand.
I should do that. Yeah, I'll take the drone. I guess.
Tila's Cottage, for people that don't know.
You know what? We're gonna hit the deadline, so this hasn't happened yet. But
What deadline?
this hasn't happened yet. This whole cottage thing. But I will send you the footage of it, and you can see it right now on the screen of of the drone flying over the cottage. If I haven't crashed it, and then afterwards you'll see the new roof on the cottage. If I haven't crashed it, and if I have crashed it, you can insert whatever you want to humiliate me over this part. I can't speak. We gotta get back to doing these on Sundays. Not that anybody in the audience would ever notice, but
We record them on Sunday. They used to get released on Mondays. I missed this week. This week's the first week I've missed the Monday. It was just too busy. And Johnny's was still going well, so I figured why bury it?
yeah, let her be.
What's the weather like up there? Is it chilly? Probably.
I bet you it is quite cold. In fact, it's quite cold down here. Given that it's only October 4th, the current weather, it's 12 degrees out. It's been really rainy this week.
It was beautiful this morning, though. Like, it was wet, but it was warm.
It was nice. The sun, especially even the sun came out this afternoon. It was nice. I'm going to look up the weather for where my family cottage is. Currently there, it's 4 degrees instead of 12 we have here. Yes. And the prediction for this weekend, I'm going to look at the 10-day forecast, is supposed to be a high of 9 degrees and 7 degrees. So, compared to today's temperature of 13 degrees was the high up there. So it's cold.
That's fun. That every time I get photos of Tila's Cottage in the fall, it's nice. Being there the summer time when we went, I went the last 2 years. I went with you. That is great. but the fall colors probably make it a very nice look.
I'm more about the summer weather myself.
So I like the summer weather, but I don't mind the fall colors.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Sometimes you get a little overlap in between. But is everybody going up, or just you and Tila from the Niagara region?
Nope. Lots of well, all of her family basically. So should be a pretty big get together. There's gonna be lots of pie. There's always lots of pie on Thanksgiving.
Root beer flavored pie this year?
No, God, no. That was a mistake last year.
Tila likes to make experimental pie.
She saw that somewhere on a recipe, I think. It said you could make root beer pie. And it was like a liquid root beer pie. Just like how you would imagine it. It was terrible.
Yeah. The only saving grace is she did use A&W, right?
Well, that's the only good root beer there is. There was another pie that was a failure. I can't remember exactly what it was. But, no more experimental pies. I think she's doing cherry and apple.
Pumpkin?
No, somebody's probably going to do pumpkin.
Pumpkin's delicious.
There's going to be like 30 pies. Somebody's doing pumpkin. I was supposed to do banana cream pie, but I'm not going to do that because I'm doing this instead, kind of. But at the same time, I told her, like, I don't...
Banana cream pie is delicious, but I know Nancy watches these on the regular, so Nancy, instead of banana cream pie, we give you this. Say hi to Nancy.
Hey, Nancy. I wish somebody else up there would make banana cream pie so I have a reference point.
Banana cream pie.
I've only ever had my mom's recipe, and it's so good, but I've never had any other one except for Tila's really crappy one Christmas giving.
That was 2 years ago.
She made.
Matt had to help her.
Yeah, because she couldn't handle bananas.
That's just it. The whole joke.
How did we
ago,
both end up with women that can't deal with bananas?
I don't know. It's such a weird
It's such
allergy.
a strange allergy. But somehow, two people I now know.
I joke with Melissa that I think her allergy is fake.
Doesn't it just make her, like,
Makes her sick.
gag?
It makes her get. So I'm thinking it's mental,
It's gotta be.
but I'm not sure.
Psyched out
The
by a
only
banana.
thing, and it's not ethical to do, is hide bananas in her food and see what happens.
That'll get you in trouble pretty quick. But I don't know. I know
Not if she's
I know-
not allergic.
Tila breaks out in hives or something, so I trust that. But in your case, yeah, you're right. I don't know.
I keep joking about it. Maybe one day.
Could be an all psychological game.
It could be. It'd be interesting.
Doesn't she just eat muffins sometimes and there's like bananas in it that she doesn't know about? Or drink like a fruit juice and there's banana in
She's
it?
pretty good about watching the ingredients list. Yeah, unless you say like natural fruit juices, then that's where you have to be careful.
A lot of fruits in there.
But no, I don't know. Are you allergic to?
Nothing whatsoever. And on top of that, and I guess we can get into it because I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast. I don't have any phobias either.
Yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah,
Where you're making
let's
fun of
forget
everybody
it.
else's fears.
It's great. I at work today, it's a very rare sighting. I saw a praying mantis.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I was
Not scared of
I was
them.
gonna throw it at somebody, and I learned what I guess I remembered. They can turn their heads like right around, and I thought it might be able to bite me because I tried twice to pick it up, and it just did this thing where its neck just went right back to where my fingers were. And I was like, nope. Try it again. And I was like, nope. It's gonna try to go for my fingers. So I'm gonna look up if they can bite people, but if they can, then I probably would have gotten bitten. Instead, I chucked it. No praying mantises were harmed in the
Making of this video.
making of that prank or this video.
It's good.
It's not really a prank. They would have shit their pants. It would have been great.
That's one that we should do. We should go to one of those safari places, like one of those reptile things. There's a few in Niagara, and you sit down there and interview one of the reptile experts, and get over my fear on camera.
It's not the best time of year, I'd imagine. Well, nothing outdoors, but there's like a reptile kingdom or something in Thorold, whatever it is, or Fawn Hill.
That's inside though.
It is. Inside's the place to be at this time of
Yes.
year for reptiles.
Yes.
Yeah, could go there. So
Get
many
in
so many
contact with them.
hypotheticals. Let's do it.
If there was ever a time to get over my fear, it'd be on camera.
Because then there's more of an incentive to do it.
Yes. I don't know. It's weird because if you told me, hey, I'm going to bring over this snake today. Mm-hmm. Be like, okay. And you brought the snake, and it's right there.
Snake.
It's a snake. I'd be less intimidated and nervous about a snake that I knew was there. But if you were like, hey,
There's snakes somewhere.
and you threw a snake at me with your wizard powers,
All right.
that, or, throw a praying mantis. Yes, I think a lot of my scared comes from jumping.
Yeah.
Like when a frog jumped on me, I got startled and I jumped, and he was like, "Oh, you're scared?" No, a thing jumped on me, and
I tend to underreact with stuff like that, with people like jumping out trying to scare me.
but you
I just sort of
underreact with-
sit there.
you underreact with a lot of things.
I don't know. Nothing surprises me.
But then also at the same time, I would much rather be in the presence of something cool, like an alligator, than a small lizard
It's true. I'd like to see an alligator.
or crocodile. And of course, my
Even
dream,
bigger.
I hate small lizards, but if somebody can clone a velociraptor, I'm down.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
I wouldn't fuck with a velociraptor.
No, me either. But I'm down. Do you think we talked about this in Florida, but do you think one day it'll happen? Not in our lifetime.
I think you could probably synthesize an organism that's similar to what we think they look like. I mean, DNA we already know is very degraded, and I don't think there's a way to recover that.
They're doing it with chickens now. They're
Using chickens as the backbone of whatever. Yeah.
and they're playing with the genes, and they're breeding at least dinosaur-esque embryos.
And did they ever make it past the embryo stage?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because they're not running around trying to eat us.
I'm sure they can bring one of those to term at some point. That'd be a interesting thing to work on, but
Chickens are fuckers.
I don't think we're ever gonna replicate authentic dinosaurs, like the same DNA as the things that walked the earth millions of years ago.
But we don't need to. The illusion
No,
is
you
enough.
could create the illusion. I think that's probably doable. Combine the right genetics that we have. Once you master the genome of several organisms, including ourselves, and you know what every protein that's encoded in every step along the way, every Hox gene, everything that's set up or whatever for the body plan of the organism, you can eventually, I imagine, just target specific genes and synthesize ones to go in each other's places and come up with your own body plan of its own. Oh, it's got to be doable.
I don't know. That's beyond me, and I think it's beyond our years. We'll see some interesting things. This would be weird. I was talking... Okay, here's a good... I know it's late and we're tired, but...
It's okay. We still got time.
Pot.
Okay.
We've talked about it.
I got a pamphlet in the mail about it today.
I got an email about it today. I got invited to a workplace. I think it's a business... I don't know how I got this, but I got invited to Club Roma as a business owner and workplace cannabis information night or information morning. I get free breakfast, and I get to learn about cannabis in the workplace.
It's just for you? How did this
It's
connection
an
arise?
open invite, but I don't know how I got the email.
I want free breakfast.
We can go.
Okay.
But in doing my research, they've penned it out, and it's been a long time since I actually read what's going down. I know it's getting legalized. But I didn't read the fine print.
There's a lot of it.
They're kind of weird with it. I thought it was going to be like alcohol.
It's not.
But it's a weird amalgamation of cigarette laws and alcohol laws.
Yep.
Like the whole you can smoke it pretty much everywhere you can with a cigarette. Mm-hmm. But unlike cigarettes, you can't smoke it at work.
Yes.
But it also, the website I was on didn't explicitly say you couldn't smoke it on your break either.
Which
I think it's a per business decision whether or not you're going to let your employees smoke.
But it would make sense that you wouldn't, because I don't think you're allowed to drink on any job necessarily.
But that's why it's a weird amalgamation.
It has to be, because it's both an impairing substance and something that's volatile, like into the air, so people are breathing it in, which makes perfect sense that it's a combination of the two, actually, in many regards, I would say. It's not really... The distribution of it is more interesting to me, like how it's going to be sold and how you yourself can't sell it. Like I don't think a police officer is gonna say something to you if somebody bums a cigarette off you on the street and you say, give me $1, and they give you $1. That's not a big deal. I mean, yes, it's technically not legal, and I know that, but
Yeah, but that's the same way they handle cigarettes.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to resell
no,
cigarettes.
that's what I'm saying about cigarettes.
Yeah.
Nothing would happen. I think with weed they might be a bit more strict, but at the same time, it's stupid.
Are you allowed to, and I say this as tobacco blood, are you allowed to grow your own tobacco in your backyard?
I don't see why not. You can brew your own alcohol. Tobacco fields are just like unguarded things you can walk into if
I
you
know.
wanted to trespass. So,
You've dreamed of doing that.
well, pick my own tobacco. Let's grow tobacco plants. I'll add that to the garden if I'm
Profitable.
next year. No, it's not. Not unless you can do it in mass quantities and you have a way to treat it. I think it would be a fun experiment. If I plant a garden, which I will in the spring, I'm going to plant tobacco. Learn how to grow tobacco.
I know people.
To get me some seeds. Or a germinated plant would be easier.
I'll have my people get in touch with your people.
Perfect.
No, the marijuana thing is interesting, and the distribution of it.
You can grow it too, which is going to be cool.
Can't sell it,
I'll grow weed.
so you can grow it. You can smoke it yourself.
Yeah.
Where do you get the seeds?
I don't know. You can already buy seeds. There's shops in Niagara Falls that sell them to tourists because it's legal to have seeds, but you can't plant them.
That's odd.
Yeah, it is.
But okay.
Some people put it in their food or something. I don't know.
No, I was going to defend it, but no, that is odd because it's not like we're joking about starting an illegal business and we're talking about getting a bunch of,
Meth?
well, we were talking about meth and
A drug front?
yeah.
Like a Chinese restaurant or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
If in the future we ever buy a Chinese restaurant, I want it to be known that it is not a meth drug front.
It could be. You should investigate that. But
Don't. How did they get arrested? We reviewed their old podcast
They
and they
confessed-
openly admitted it.
they confessed to a crime that they hadn't yet committed for the next 3 years.
Is that really a confession then?
I don't know.
It's heavily premeditated, so it is a confession.
It's true. Yeah, it makes it worse, I suppose.
Okay. I feel bad for the cops because at the very least they will have had to have went through 60 hours to get through.
No, somebody cut it out and put it in a snippet. 'Cause they didn't digging. They did the digging for the cops. No way they went through this crap.
But marijuana seeds are a little bit more direct than saying, "Oh, this person bought all this, whatever the, what's the medicinal in meth? What's the sinus?"
Methyl. Oh, pseudoephedrins.
Yeah.
If you want to make it from that.
But it's a little bit more direct, just buying pot seeds.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't really be able to sell them.
Why? You're allowed to grow plants. You will be. You're not currently.
Not yet.
No.
So you're literally giving.
The thing that can make the thing that gives you weed. Yes.
But it's not illegal.
It's not. Unless
That's
you
so
plant it.
weird.
Yes. Welcome to Canada? I don't know.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if in the States.
I never
this
once
is
thought
legal.
I'm gonna buy pot seeds.
But you can.
I just might.
I think they're probably pretty overpriced. Probably better to go to a friend that grows weed, which I'm sure that many
Do you
of
know
us.
somebody?
I do actually. I probably know several people that know people that grow weed.
Oh my god, we should get a criminal on the podcast
Yeah.
and blur out his face or to light him so you can't see him. I want to talk to the criminal,
Okay.
not your friend.
They're not really a criminal.
Right now they are. They're growing pot, not legal.
Tons of Canadians are doing that. The
Yes,
police,
I
the
know
police
that.
know that in the city.
I know. Actually, I know somebody too.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a mutual. I don't know. Tila knows somebody.
Yeah.
Actually, I know somebody.
Yeah, there's a good chance it's mutual.
Ah.
Everybody knows a person
Um.
in a blue tent.
How do we
somewhere.
find a criminal?
Walk out front of the courthouse or the police station.
They're not a very good criminal.
Well, I mean, they're free. Maybe, I don't know.
I want a criminal that's been doing things and it's anonymous and
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds dangerous. I'm sure we could ask like any homeless person to hook us up with their drug dealer that sells like hard drugs, and then we
if we
follow
interviewed
the
a
ladder.
homeless person. What if we interviewed a homeless person?
That'd be fine too.
There'd be an interesting story there, hopefully.
It would. I don't know. We'd have to transport them here, because I don't think they have a car. So there'd be a lot of setup to doing that.
There would be. You'd have to find them.
We'd have to compensate them out of guilt, because
Food.
yeah,
Here. This bevy of feast in a washroom.
there is a bit of a issue to it as well, where it is a thing, and it's just I think a fact of the matter is that there's going to be a top levels of stories that they're going to have that are just it's their daily routine. It's what they tell people when people ask them about their situation, whatever. It's just this thing that it's probably a lie in many cases. Lots of homeless people do tell lies to begin with, because
That is true.
Because nobody wants to really describe things that are personal to them off the bat. It's hard to get to somebody's emotions. It would be good to have rapport with this person first, so that way you could at least get on the basis where you're telling each other truths and how it actually is.
Fine. Then for the next 6 months, I'll go undercover. I'll become a homeless person.
There we go.
I quit. I'm done. I'm leaving. Justin
drink-
pays the rent.
Drink the water that they drink, and find food with them, and do the drugs they do, and
Yes.
you're all set. You probably should stick to alcohol.
Yes.
Be a good choice. You'd fit in, and you wouldn't have to ruin your life, possibly.
Yes. Do you think? I don't know. We've talked about it a lot, but ruining your life. It's not pot. Meth, yes. Meth will ruin your life.
Yeah. Well, there are individuals that are stoners that do significantly limit their potential in life because of the amount of weed that they smoke and the things they refuse to do.
Now, is that an arguable ruining of life, or is that you don't know what their potential was off pot?
You never know what the potential is of anybody independent of the things that they have done, because they've done those things and it's too late.
That's why whenever somebody dies, they're like, oh, they had so much potential.
So did everybody.
Everybody is given well, I can't say that.
Yeah.
Some people
People
more
have very
potential.
limited potential at the get-go.
But you were born with a certain amount of potential, and then you're given more
And it
potential.
slowly decreases over time.
Yes.
In many ways. No, I think weed definitely ruins lives in some ways. People, yes, you could have an addiction to weed of sorts, although it's not quite the same. And withdrawal symptoms are a serious differentiator for a lot of drugs of what it's like to come off of certain things, certain opiates and things like that. It's this agony for many people coming off of these things. You can't say the same for weed. The biggest thing that you're going to have is now you have to face yourself sober if you've been stoned nonstop for the past 10 years or whatever.
You'd be a totally different person.
You'd probably be very anxious. You'd have lots of things that you have just had buried under the glaze of weed for a decade that you now have to deal with. So yes, because being a human, it's hard psychologically to deal with a lot of that kind of stuff, and that's why you cover it
It's
up.
hard to deal with life sometimes. That's why I get why some people drink.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the best thing about drinking. It actually is a very good, very, very good way to just put your mind somewhere else and relax at the end of the day. And it's that I understand being an adult
Yeah.
at this point in time.
The other thing that I noticed, I was driving and I was thinking, if your life really sucked, but you didn't want to do drugs or drink, there's one solution.
Meditation.
2 solutions. So I got thinking, if you want your life to not suck for 4 hours, you just want to put it on pause.
Have sex.
3 solutions. 4 hours?
Good sex.
It's been a long time since I've had sex for 4 hours.
It's been a while, yeah.
Okay, so 3 solutions. My solution was take a nap.
Oh yeah.
Disappears.
Well, that doesn't really work.
Mentally, it does. Inside.
No, there's lots of insomniacs and people that can't get proper rest, and rest
True.
itself is a painful process. And I've even at my own point in part of my life, rest has been not
too.
easy to come by. So it's not foolproof method by any stretch. Escapism can be found in just about anything.
It's true.
The
I
TV
like
shows you
writing.
watch and
TV
reading,
shows.
everything. Humans are very good at trying to escape from doing anything but living their lives in the absence of other stimuli, things that pull them away from something. Who knows? If there is really no direct meaning of life, then it's not really pulling you away from anything. You're just being free, doing what you please.
Well, that's just a deep conversation, because I've once again been thinking about the greater purpose and everything, and it's bothersome when you unveil it all and reveal it, and you wonder if there actually is one.
No, it's the same solution every time you get worked up about all these things that seem to matter to you in life, and eventually you come to the conclusion that none of them actually matter, and it's just what you're doing. You're going on a day-to-day routine, which is interesting to also in the context of the people I was talking about that were on Joe Rogan's podcast, the guy that had been on death row for like 21 years and got out because he wasn't guilty, or like the person that was captured by Somali pirates for like 2 years and lived an entirely different life. Their routine, everything that they thought mattered to them, probably didn't matter very much once those other processes had started. And your basic needs are entirely different, and yeah, you really don't have probably the same sense of destiny or something you need to be fulfilling once all that's thrown out the window.
Well, at that point, if you live to die another day, you've fulfilled your goal for the day.
But that was always the main priority of humanity, right until we went up with, sometime before the agricultural age, when we started forming communities and suddenly realized that we're not immortal. We're very vulnerable beings, that we need to protect our children, but in a more tangible way, that we understand their own mortality. And now you start living for tomorrow instead of just for today. The whole idea of just living to die another day goes out the window, and you can achieve greater things like humanity, where you ponder the deeper questions of life and you do things with a delayed gratification, like planting foods and harvesting them later and learning to cook things instead of just eating them on the spot where you find them, and such and so forth. Sort of human evolution mixed with our own psychological development as human beings. Which, I guess, let's go for a branch off that. What do you think it'd be like to pull a human being, so Homo sapien, from 25,000 years ago now? Do you think you could raise like an infant from that time period to be the same, blend in with everybody else in society, everything would be perfect? Because I think you probably could. Nothing's different physiologically, really. We haven't changed that much in 25,000 years.
So you're pulling a completely newborn.
Let's go with the newborn.
So
Plastic.
right out.
Yeah. From the past.
Right out of the past. Okay, well, the movie maker part of my mind, first off, says you're going to have one pissed off mother, and that entire line of family
is going to do something in the future.
Is going to have a horrible vendetta.
Let's pick a
realistic approach.
No, let's pick a tribal community that is separated from the rest of the world for the last 25,000 years, and they go extinct sometime anyway. So it's fine. They were
okay.
It's an outlook, right? They were irrelevant to the rest of the humanity after that point. They diverged, and that one died, and the rest of them kept going.
And we saved
one infant
from King Pao
from the demise of their own section of humanity.
If there's no difference,
is there something epigenetic about it? Is what I'm wondering almost. Like, is there something that's passed on from parents that it essentially instill?
I would think so.
Instill attitudes towards things and cause some kind of different psychological development. I'm curious.
But then again,
because epigenetic factors are a thing, it's not just purely genetic. I want to know what kind of difference that would make, because those factors would be very different, I would imagine, whereas the genome might be just about the same.
That's a tough one. I don't know, because you could pull somebody, probably raise them, but maybe you raising them would modify, at the very least modernize their internals. Like if they were if they were a hunter or like a warrior, maybe they grow up to be a cop or a soldier. So they've modernized their view on the world. Like if their family were hunters or gatherers.
I don't know. That definitely asserts the view of destiny that someone can be born pretty much independent of external factors, hardwired to do a specific task. Which I think, yes, genetics of, let's just say, a higher testosterone male would push them towards something that's more physical or male domineering or whatever.
And I'm an artist.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would...
Keep in mind, epigenetic factors are involved with stuff as serious as, like, the susceptibility of weight gain in future generations. Like, say, for instance, there was a famine in years past and generations past, and even though it's over, the newborns now put on weight better than, you know, those that have come before, because their body is able to prepare for the disaster of a famine. So I don't know if epigenetic factors have that much influence on personality. That's sort of what I'm getting at. And I'm sure if I did some research into peer-reviewed literature, I'd probably find something on the matter. But this is just spitting words out.
Just nice little banter.
Way too late at night.
Yes, and we're not high.
No. I imagine
drunk.
this would be a good conversation if we were in a different state of mind, though.
Yes. It's been so long.
I think I'm going to say that's where we should wrap up for tonight.
So next week next week we'll figure something out. I do have another guest that has an interest to return. So we'll see.
Okay. Is it the one you met with? Is that the one?
No.
No? Okay. Never mind.
Someone else who has an issue with Amazon.
An issue with Amazon?
Yeah.
Like the shipping part of Amazon or some other division of Amazon?
The commission and yada yada, the money side of Amazon.
Yeah.
But I'll let this person tell their story.
I look forward to that. On that note, everybody, have a good night. Get some sleep. Don't be sleep deprived.
Or, get to work. Depends. I always wonder what the best time to release these are. Do you do it at night? Do you do it in the morning?
Doesn't matter. Go to bed, wherever you are. Don't care if you're at your desk or driving.